Boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. Today is a weirdly warm day for the middle of December, so I wanted to take this chance to come out and just do a little bit of training. So I thought I would also bring the camera along to show you guys what kind of just a normal training session for me looks like when I come out to practice. And also wanted to take this chance to talk about something that I think is really important that not a lot of people do, which is actually training with your carry gun in the way that you carry it. So let's get shooting. All right, so usually to start my training sessions, I like to just shoot 10 rounds or so into the head box of the target, just one shot at a time. This is just kind of my warm-up to get my draw warmed up, my grip, and my sight picture, just kind of get everything flowing. Today I am shooting my 5-inch M&P 2.0 because I'm a beanpole and can get away with carrying big guns. All right, first shots of the day. 178. 161, 168, horrible draw, 184, 153, 155, 169, 165, and 167. All right, so you guys can see I got a pretty good little group here in the credit card box. I do aim for the credit card in the head when I do this, but I'm not super torn up if I shoot outside the credit card box. I'm really just looking at the size of the group and my consistency, so that's not bad. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so the premise of this video is I just wanted to show you guys kind of what it's like when I go out and train with my carry gun, and also just talk about why I think it's really important to regularly go out and train with your carry gun. Now, a lot of you probably think that's obvious why it's important, so that you're good with the gun that you carry every day, but I'm actually usually surprised by the number of people that I meet and that I know who do carry a gun very often or every day, and they just flat out don't train with it. Like, they might shoot the gun itself, but when they shoot the gun, they're just going out target shooting or maybe running some light drills. But if you carry a gun every day, you need to get out and practice with that gun in the way that you carry it. The holster that you carry it with, the way you carry it, whether it's under a coat outside the waistband, appendix inside the waistband like I do, it doesn't matter, but you need to be very familiar and comfortable with how to draw that firearm and use it from the place you carry it in. If you live in one of the states that makes it easy for you to get a concealed carry permit, or one of the very base states that has constitutional carry, and you carry a gun every day, when you put that gun in your pants and you have that gun on your person when you go out into public, you are taking on the full responsibility for what happens if you have to use that gun to defend yourself or someone else. But this also means you are taking on the full responsibility of the lack of skill that you might have if you have to use that gun. So if you have to draw that gun and use it in self-defense and you're not proficient with it and you end up accidentally shooting an innocent person, that's your responsibility as well, and that is completely on you. So if you choose to carry a gun with you every day in public, you have the responsibility of knowing how to use that gun and being good with that gun, so that if you ever do have to use it, you're confident that you will be able to responsibly use that gun in the way that you have to. Okay, so now something I've been playing with recently is the idea that when you're out in public, if you have to draw your firearm and use it, there's a good chance your attention is on something else and you're doing something else. So your hands might not be free, like in the perfect position to just go for the perfect draw. So something I've been playing with is I'm using an AR mag here, but I'll find something like this that I can pretend is like my phone, and I'll just have that in my hands like I'm texting or not looking on TikTok. And this will be my starting point for this drill, and I'll just pretend I'm, playing Candy Crush or something, and then timer goes off and I'll drop this and draw my gun. And I'm going to do 2 rounds on target here. I think that in a lot of self-defensive situations, you're probably not going to be mag dumping. All right, here we go. 198. Oh, that's a cute cat. That was a horrible draw. 217. 201. 193. That was a 1.9. No, my phone. Well, that's a pretty great little group in the A zone there. I actually probably could have gone a little faster than I was going and spread those out a little more, but that's pretty good. So, of course, a lot of you guys that carry every day probably don't have access to the kinds of areas that I do, where I can just drive out here to the middle of nowhere and shoot in the mountains. And I know I'm very lucky to grow up in a place like this where I can do that. So your guys' access might be very limited. Maybe you can only go to indoor ranges, things like that. Maybe it's an indoor range that doesn't let you draw from the holster, which is really stupid. But if you can't go out and shoot all the time like I'm able to, that's still not an excuse, because you have dry fire. Now, I know dry fire is not the same thing as live fire, but I've said so many times before, the difference between the best shooters in the world and your average Joe is how much they dry fire. Just plain and simple, dry fire is what turns people into really, really good shooters. So there is no reason you cannot set up your dry fire and practice your draw and practice your trigger press and practice your reloads and practice your sight alignment and practice all of that without shooting any rounds. So if you're not able to get out and shoot live fire as often as you would like to, just dry fire. You can still train your concealed carry gun in the way you carry it with dry fire. It is just the best way, concealed carry or not, to just get better at shooting. Okay, so for this next drill, I'm going to get a little bit of movement involved. Now, I'm just out here by myself with a tripod, so I can't get the cool action shots of the camera moving with me, unfortunately. But I still want to share this content with you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start back between these two trees at about 15 yards. On the timer, I'm going to draw and shoot 5 shots, and then I'm going to run up to here about 7 yards, 6 yards, and I'm going to shoot another 5. When I come out to train specifically for concealed carry like this, I like to think up scenarios that aren't necessarily realistic, but more likely to happen. In a self-defensive situation, you're not going to be sitting here ready to draw your pistol like I was talking about earlier. You're not going to hear a beep of a timer. It's just going to be a hit of adrenaline, and you got to make some decisions. It's almost guaranteed that your attention is going to be focused on something else, and then you're just going to have to make a split-second decision. Of course, you can't recreate that very well out here practicing, so I still use a timer just to give myself a metric to gauge myself on. But in this case, I'm going to be using one of those trees, pretending that it's like a grocery store shelf, and I'm looking at boxes of cereal and stuff. And then Mr. Cardboard over here is going to decide he wants to die. So I talk a lot. So for some reason, the timer picked up 11 shots, but that was a 7.7. All right, so you can see the hits were a little more wild on this one. I was just trying to go fast to be a little more realistic, so I threw a couple Charlies. See down there, I did throw this one Delta down here and a line breaker Charlie. But if we're talking about a self-defensive scenario where your goal is just to get bullets on the body to stop somebody, that's totally acceptable. So I've heard a lot of different theories when it comes to training for concealed carry, that you should focus on really up close, really fast stuff, because you're way more likely to have just an up close scenario where you don't even need to use your sights and you just have to draw the gun and put rounds at 3 feet as fast as you can. But then, of course, you also have situations like Elijah Dickin, who shot a very slow cadence at like 40 yards to stop an active shooter with his Glock 19. And he was not shooting fast. He was absolutely using his sights to get accurate shots on target. So I don't think there is one correct answer there of the way you should train for concealed carry. I think the best solution is to train some of everything, so that whatever situation you might find yourself in, you know that you're prepared and you have practice in that situation. So you should train up close, shooting fast, point shooting without sights. You should train at distance, shooting at a slower cadence, getting accurate shots on target with your sights. Both of those situations are just as likely to happen, and it's just as important for you to be prepared for either of them or any of them. But I will say, in both of those situations, what I think the most important part of concealed carry is being good at your draw. Whether you have to draw fast up close and shoot fast, or draw at distance and shoot controlled and accurate, you need to have a good solid grip on the pistol. So if there is one thing that I think everybody, no matter gender, age, hand size, whatever, train your draw. Train your draw the way you carry your gun, so you know that whether you have to draw fast and shoot fast, or draw and get a good grip and shoot slow, It doesn't matter. You just have that good consistent purchase on your gun to come up and engage in whatever way you have to. Okay, so now we're gonna get a little more up close and personal with this guy here. I'm gonna stand at like 2 or 3 feet from him. And we're just kind of pretending he's, I don't know, probably not holding us at gunpoint, because we'd probably die if we tried to draw while he's already holding at gunpoint, but you know, whatever. We're just having some fun here. So I'm gonna start like this, hands up. On the timer, I am gonna draw, and I'm gonna shoot as I back off, 3 shots. And I am absolutely not going to be using my sights at this close. I'm just gonna put my gun in his chest and just shoot. Of course, the idea here is just speed. Just go as fast as I can, get my gun out and get shots off as fast as I can, while also getting some distance. So, wow, that was one of the worst draws I've ever had. That was a 1-9 for 3 shots. Okay, that was a 1-6-8. That was a 1-7. All alphas, obviously. All right, so now for our last drill, we're gonna imagine we're in the most dangerous place imaginable, a Walmart parking lot on Black Friday. And we're gonna pretend Mr. Cardboard there is doing something evil, like trying to steal a TV from a single mom of 3. So we're going to start inside my Gladiator here. On the timer, I'm gonna open the door, get out, come around, draw my handgun as soon as I have a clear sight picture over my bed. We're gonna engage 3 rounds into the degenerate scum over there. That's loud. That was a 5-3-4. My bad. Sorry, I thought you were being a criminal there. That was a 4-4-9. Oh, dude. You know, thought I figured it out the first time. I guess not. My bad. My bad. 4-3-6. Okay, we threw 1 extra Charlie down here. Other than that, that was all alphas. Well, boys and girls, that about does it for this video. I just wanted to share with you the importance of training with a gun if you're going to carry a gun every day. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about this topic. Let me know how often you guys try to get out and train with your carry guns. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.